female entrepreneurs turned besties share on life, business, and the journey through the mess. Join their community with every new episode for connection, education, a few laughs, and the hype energy like a bathroom full of drunk girls at a bar. It's okay.
We're your friends now!
Hey everybody, it's Biz.
Hey y'all, it's Katie.
And it's Ashleigh. Welcome to another episode of We're Your Friends Now. Thanks for tuning in. Last week, we talked about this concept that we call waddling, which is just working your way through the hard things in life. So we thought this week we would kind of talk about how do you handle self-care? What do you do to take care of yourself, prioritize yourself, that really helps you get through making those next right steps, or maybe even the wrong steps for some of us. And like, what does self-care look like? And I think everybody has such a broad definition, or like things that are important to them. Like there's some people that say, you know, and I know it's a very Southern thing, if I don't put my face on in the morning, I don't feel very good the rest of the day. So it's interesting to me to talk about it, and it helps you learn what's important to you when you hear what other women are doing, because then you can go try it out. And that is like its own journey of discovery. And it's just super interesting and super fun. So before we get started, why don't we just talk a little bit about an update? Biz, you've been busy with Mardi Gras like crazy.
Yeah.
Been loving all the
No,
pictures and
girl,
videos.
it was Ash Wednesday. I am repenting. I am not. No. Yeah, no, we had a great time. We had a really great time. I caught a shoe at Muses. And it's a weird Barbie shoe. And so that was really cool. And I got matching Barbie sunglasses at Iris.
So fun.
Those are two. Yeah, I love those parades. They have the best throws. They were throwing like light up dog collars and leashes and stuff, like really like cool, and like soap, like really cool things. Like not. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. What about you, Katie?
So cool.
What have you been up to?
Well, Valentine's Day was this week, and that's not usually my favorite holiday. No shame or hate to people who love it. I just have never really been like super into it. But Brett and I took some like intentional quality time. I made one of his favorite meals, and a new season of Love is Blind is out and dropped on Valentine's Day. And
my
so
God.
we watched like
We
like
watched
perfect
marketing.
what?
It's like perfect marketing. We watched someone. Sorry, no.
Oh my god.
I love that they dropped it on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I was living for it. So, we watched like 4 episodes of that. And
what about you, Ashleigh?
Speaking of Valentine's Day, it's funny because talking about seasons of life, I am not a huge Valentine's Day person, in that I don't really enjoy the commercialization and the idea that you should only celebrate your partner once a year and that's it. But I do love having opportunities that remind you, just like how we have to put things in our calendar sometimes. So I do love that. And so every year I make Shane take me out for a fancy dinner, and he does his duty. He gets dressed up, shaves his beard, whatever. We go to a fancy place, and I get to wear a cute little dress and blah, 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 blah. And
y'all looked amazing, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I had to do my hair that morning, and so like I joked that I spent literally 12 hours getting ready. I didn't, but it's just fun. It's a fun excuse and to do a little extra self-care. So that's kind of the part I really like about it. And I always make him, he does not really like to take pictures, but I always make him stand outside the restaurant and we take a photo. And he was laughing because he's like, what is it like that you want out of going to dinner for Valentine's Day? And I was like, at the end of the day, I feel like this is the time where I'm in my 30s, he's 40. So I think we're young, but maybe other people don't think we're young. But I'm like, we're young, and I don't want to get to the point where I'm like 80 and I'm like, I don't want to put on a nice dress anymore and go out.
Yeah.
And I missed that time that I would have liked to do that.
Mm.
So I do it because like of the memory. I want the memory of having done it, and I want the picture, so I have a
Aw.
memory. And we always joke about he's older than me, one, and he just didn't take very good care of himself when he was in his 20s. So we're like, yeah, you're definitely dying before me, which means I'm going to be lonely and sad and crying all the time. So I need pictures to cry over. So that's why I need my little photo.
I'm going to pull that card out next time.
Oh my gosh. I love
But like,
that.
I also love that he thought to ask you that question. Like, that's such a mindful question.
That's
go
fun.
Shane.
That's such a fun tradition.
Yeah. Jonathan worked in the restaurant industry for so long when we first started together that like we avoid restaurants like the plague on Valentine's Day. But he made
I always think about that. Those poor restaurant service staff and wait staff and kitchen staff. It must get crazy. We eat really early. We got there at 4:45. The live piano music hadn't even started yet. So it's never all that bad when we're out, but I can only imagine.
Yeah. I will say I took so Connor has a little cousin who's like 5 months old, and I took him shopping to pick stuff out for her for a little Valentine's gift. And that was really, really fun. Just watching like what he chose for her and letting him like he decided to draw on her card with chalk instead of crayons. So she got like a chalked card, which then of course like he drew on his face also. But that was really, really cute. And it was so like toddlers are so funny, man. He chose like this pink stuffed unicorn for her. And then we call Connor the king of cozy, and because that boy loves to be cozy. And so he picked out fuzzy slippers for this 5-month-old girl because he loves slippers. And he picked out like the fuzziest slippers I have ever seen.
That's like adorable.
This is so on brand for you.
Liv made me buy 23 of these fancy suckers in Walgreens for Valentine's Day for her class. And then I realized that they're out of school the entire freaking week for Mardi Gras. And I like sent out 23 of these huge suckers. And I'm like, am I going to be the mom that like is the overachiever on Monday and is like, here, take the sugar? Or am I going to be the mom that keeps a hoard of suckers to bribe my kid with? Because
it sounds like you're the sucker.
I am the sucker.
Sounds like you're the sucker and you got because Liv wanted some suckers around the house.
Yeah, so Valentine's Day is an interesting tradition there. It's fun with the kids, and I struggle with all these holidays because it's just constantly sugar, and my kids do not need more sugar. We still have Halloween candy, we still have Christmas, Easter's coming up, so I really struggle with that. But it is an interesting opportunity to model to them caring for themselves and caring for others. Because I don't think just because if you're single and you're like, I want flowers, I am one of those people that's like, go get yourself some flowers, girl. Go do it. Yeah. Or man, if you're a man who wants some flowers, go buy some flowers.
I brought Liv with me to get. I brought Liv with me to get Jonathan's card and had her get him one too. I think it's really important.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Becca buys herself flowers. Becca buys herself flowers every Sunday, whether she's in a relationship or not, because she likes fresh flowers in the house and she enjoys going to pick them out. And then she's happy every time she sees them.
That's why I love Trader Joe's, man. But don't know how to stop. I can't, because then I always end up with 5 bouquets to put around, and then I give them away. I did that for Christmas. I did. I gave away bouquets of flowers to some of my friends.
That's cute.
Every woman needs flowers.
But I agree with what you're saying, Ashleigh, that and this was kind of a pivotal point for me too with self-care, is modeling for your kids what it looks like to take care of yourself, because we take care of them so much, right? And they may or may not understand that. And most of us have the goal that we want our children to be pretty self-sufficient as they grow up, right? And so like part of them being healthy is teaching them how to care for themselves. But if the model that they've always seen doesn't do it, then how do they know that it's important?
Yeah.
Totally.
Gosh, man, that's the big lesson there with Liv is I teach her, we take time for ourselves, for the two of us together, and then us as a family. And I'm very intentional about like calling it out while it's happening. Because back when I was taking that stained glass class, oh man, talk about how hard self-care can be. I swear if that wouldn't have been on my goal sheet, I don't know that I would have done it. Like truthfully. And that's where like this whole thing we were talking about self-care, I was like, oh man, we're going to finally get Ashleigh's treat list.
Ashleigh's treat list is unending and limitless.
But like, I was just thinking to myself, every time you talk about this treat list or this joy list and all of these things, like I have to have lists and tools to go to because it's really important for me to write it down when I'm happy. So that way I know.
When you're in the midst of being happy, it's interesting because it changes your perspective. When you're feeling down and you want to list the things that are contributing to your negative mood or mindset or whatever it is, that list would be very different than if you're in a happy mood saying what's contributing to this positive mindset. Those are two completely different lists. So it's really a great idea, Biz, to not only make that list when you're happy, but make it when you're upset and then angry, and get really good at identifying those emotions, because I think that there's different self-care for different emotions.
Ooh. Oh, you have multiple lists.
So okay. like if I'm mad, getting my hair done is not going to help me. Having nice hair is not going. I'm still gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad the whole time my hair's getting done. I'm gonna be mad while it looks good. It's just not gonna get any progress. But if I'm feeling like down on myself or hard on myself, having my hair done will help, because I feel like less of a piece of shit. Like, oh, look at me. At least I got my hair done. Like, it's kind of like when people are suffering depression and can you just get up and brush your teeth for 10 seconds? Like, if you can just make that little progress, you'll feel so much less like a piece of shit. Which is probably not the therapist to say that. But those, so you have to kind of navigate it a little bit.
Yeah. No, thanks. I've never thought to try to make a list when I was not happy. So I will try to do that. I'm curious to see what comes out of it. With it. God, man, journaling. So
Journaling.
Good. I think journaling is definitely a self-care on all of our parts. It's so great to talk to yourself in writing. Like, it really is. Everybody should try it. So
it's weird to get started on journaling, especially if you like have never done it, or like the last time you did it was when you were a really moody teenager writing over dramatic diary entries, and so it feels a little weird. I'm safe to be seen. So I would definitely encourage everybody to start journaling and just try it for.
What I do? I because I can sometimes I can type faster than I can whatever, and I Facebook message myself.
I text myself.
Do you can text yourself with iPhones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if I've never tried. That's cool.
I know you should. It's great. I text myself all the time.
So if you've never journaled before, I know I talk about 5-minute journal a lot. I have another recommendation too, and it just so happens to be next to me. So this is called Here Now Solutions. It's actually by Kyle Evans and his brother Casey Evans. They made a book and they have a digital copy. So if you prefer to type, you can. It follows a very similar strategy to the 5-minute journal, but it has, so today's wow, and then my win for the day, my opportunity for improvement is, and then my plan to move forward on my opportunity for improvement. So the thing that I like about this is it's not only talking about lessons, but it's putting action there, which like when you need some self-care or need to get yourself out of a funk, action is like the way to do it. And so it can be such a small little thing. And then it has a spot for gratitude. And then they have like reflections and stuff in here that just has little like stories and things that are helpful. But I've really enjoyed this because it follows the same model that I already like. And when I'm in a like, I need to take action somewhere, this guides me through the thought process of like, okay, what did I do well today? What am I grateful for? What's bothering me? Or like, what's my holdup? And then what's a step that I can take? And then the next day, my win can be like, I did the first part of that step. Like I lifted my foot towards that step, you know? And I think that that's such a key thing as you try and figure out self-care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's a great
Thank you.
point. I think that sometimes the struggle of breaking out of a cycle, when there's that line of sometimes you do, as a human being living the human experience, you have to let yourself and give yourself permission to experience and fully process your emotions.
Yeah.
You can't just, like we always say, well, journal and do this and have your gratitude. And you can't journal and gratitude your way out of grief. You can
No.
journal and gratitude your way to help process that emotion. And so it's something that like is difficult for me to figure out where that line is on where am I that is, yes, I'm processing this and that's okay. Give myself permission versus this has gone on too long. It's time to break the cycle. And I'll give you a vulnerable example. And then I'd love to hear how you guys decide whether it's time to break that cycle. So a lot of you know, I share custody of my 2 kids with their dad. And so they had to pack up their stuff and leave for the week. I go and take him to school and we have our great goodbye. And there's just something, I'm very used to it. It's been years and years at this point. So typically I'm very used to it. I've got stuff to do and it's kind of nice to be able to do things without having to worry about kid pickup times and whatever. But for whatever reason that day, it just was weighing on me really, really heavily. And I just felt like absolute shit. I was just so depressed about them being gone for the week. I dropped them off at school. I get back home. All I did was crawl right back into bed under the sheets. And I'm not kidding. I cried for like 4 hours.
Oh.
And I just couldn't. I was like, I didn't have anywhere I needed to be, which I think was part of the problem. So, it didn't help me like change tracks from being full-time mom to, when they're at their dad's. And so I was like, no, I was pretty sure I made the conscious decision because I didn't have anywhere to be. I was like, I just need to crawl back into bed and be super freaking sad for as long as it takes. And so I just gave myself that permission. But how do you go about deciding whether it is I need the permission to just be sad and rot in bed for a little while versus let's break this cycle?
Do you think that you taking that time to be sad was really like helpful?
I think so. I definitely like after my 4 hours, I was able to like get back into, okay, now I have to actually eat something. Like, I do have
the reason why I ask is because like I too suffer from a chronic calendar syndrome where there's always something going on, right? And like, so it's important for me to like put on my calendar self-care. And that's like, we go back to the stained glass situation, I wouldn't have taken that class had it not been there for me to prioritize it and do it and go. And I think that that's where like real burnout comes from, is when you don't take the time when you can. And so it's like, it was convenient, right? Like you're saying, it was convenient for you to make the decision then to like process this emotion. And I think that I just want to like highlight it, that it's important to seize those moments when you can, when they're happening, because I think for me, it's always best to process as quickly to whatever happened. So that way I can like really move through it. But that's not always the case, right? To be able to do that. So it is important. So I think it's important to allow yourself to, and not be in such a hurry. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Ashleigh.
Great point.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your question? I forgot your question.
Well, so no, I mean, I think that addressed part of it is how do you decide when it is an appropriate amount of allowing yourself to process the emotion? Like Katie, you mentioned dealing with a difficult business referral partner that it's been getting kind of heated. And I know, and a lot of your friends know, you've turned to other people to say like, wow, this is happening. Here's how I'm responding. Like, this is kind of wild. And I know with somebody who's vented to other people, by the time I'm done venting, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back and restart the conversation, but
Yeah.
everybody else needs to move on with their day. So like, what is something to you that says, okay, now I need to take that action step versus be in my venting or processing mode?
Yeah, so like I said, I like action. Um and when action gets me excited, I know that I've probably processed enough. And when I can't find an action to take that makes me feel energized, I know that there's probably still something that I haven't, like, why is this bothering me, or why do I feel this way, or what am I not addressing, or whatever. And so um like if I'm really struggling with something and no path seems like the right path, then I know that the right step for me is to dig inside, whether that means to lay and cry or to journal or to just, oftentimes it's sleep. You know,
Real.
like whatever. Like there's a lot of things I'm like, I don't know, I just need to sleep. I'll probably have an answer in the morning for you. But I know that, like, if there's not an action that's making me excited or making me feel energized, then it's because I haven't resolved my feelings really. And so I think that then leads me to, like, then I have to figure out, okay, so what's my action to resolve my feelings? Like, is it crying? Is it journaling? Is it talking to somebody? What is it? Is it telling everybody so that everybody can tell me that this woman is very, very rude?
I think it's like, I just keep thinking about Diana and how she talks about how important friends are and the inner circle. And I realized something as you're talking, Katie, that I choose to, in my inner circle, when I vent, I choose people who will give me action items.
Yeah.
Like, not just listen, but it's like they listen, I feel heard, and then they're very intentional about giving me something to work on. And I think that it's really important then, like, for me to work on it, because these are my board of directors told me to, kind of thing, like your inner circle, because you trust that those people have your best interest. And so it's really interesting because, like, I don't vent like to very many people, and that's what it is. It's really cool because, like I was saying, I struggle with vulnerability, and everybody else like praises the vulnerability, but that's the difference there is, I am vulnerable about things, but I don't vent about things to many people. But yeah, and it's because of this self-care things. Oh God, I'm so glad we're talking about this. So you guys can give me those action items to do. Cause like that. And then the other thing too, I really want to bring up Katie's, I really want to bring up Katie's back, like what she talked about last week, on that list that you did for like 75 days or whatever.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you?
75 days
Yeah.
of care?
Yeah. Your
So
75 days of care. What was that about?
yeah, so like I mentioned, I was in like just a really, really bad place last year, mentally, like everything. It was really bad. And I was in that perpetual, like, I couldn't see the next step. I couldn't see the next action. And I couldn't even see a way to, like, take care of myself. Like, if there's nothing, nothing in my control that I can fix or take a step to better, then, like, I'll just better myself and maybe situations will change. And, like, I couldn't even figure it out. And I was unhappy with me, with like a lot of things. And so a bunch of my friends started doing 75 hard, and I preface this with, like, I'm not, and this sounds like a justification, I'm not scared of hard things. And like, I think that 75 hard is really great if it resonates with somebody. And
Yeah.
I'm usually one to like, I love a challenge. And so I'm usually like, it was weird to me that I wasn't excited about it. Like a bunch of my friends were doing it and we were in a group text and I was like, I have no interest in this. And I don't know if it's because I'm in such a bad place, but it really was because I was like, I couldn't see the point of it because the things they were talking about were a million steps ahead of where I was. And I didn't even know if I wanted the end result of what it was going to, like I was like,
Yeah.
well, you want to lose X amount of pounds or you want to do that. Like, I don't even know what I want at this point. Like, I am so in the weeds right now. And so basically, I said, okay, I should probably treat myself better than a glorified houseplant where I'm like, some water and a little bit of sun, right? Like occasionally, I should probably actually like take care of myself. And so I committed to 75 days of care so that I could figure out what I wanted. I figured if I just made myself feel more human, then I could figure it out. So I went back and found it. Here's what it was. And on my Facebook post, when I posted about it, I said, here's my outline. There will be some days it doesn't happen. That's okay. I'm learning grace with myself too. That's part of this. I'm not scared of 75 hard. But I want to care for others. So I need to care for myself. And that's hard all on its own. So I said 1 gallon of water every day, get my body moving every day. Might be stretching, might be a walk, might be a workout, just move. Read more nonfiction because for me, like that's very, it's relaxing. It's engaging to me. I really enjoy it. I didn't have an amount, just choose nonfiction more than I had been. At least one substantial phone call or FaceTime per week with a friend. Journal twice a day. Keep a food journal to be able to build a healthy food plan.
Mm.
One phone-free date night with Brett per week and eat something that resembles 3 meals per day. And that was it. That was my outline. And it all seems super basic, but it's all stuff that I wasn't doing. And those were like, they were things that I knew I could do, and I would have to make conscious decisions to do them because I hadn't been. And it made me prioritize those things. And I knew that all of those things improving was good for me, for my family, for my health, for my job. Like, it was good for everything. So yeah, it was, and I just chose the things that made the most sense in the moment and ran with it.
I really love that. And it's funny, I agree. 75 hard has never resonated with me as somebody
Yeah.
who like religiously goes to the gym. 75
Yeah.
hard does not interest me at all. And
No.
I always think the same thing. It's just not, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't hit. And I think
like
that's totally okay.
Yeah, some people love it, and I love that for them, and they get so
Yeah.
energized by it, and they keep some of the habits and drop some of the habits, and I think that's a really cool way for them to figure out, like, what ones they wanna adapt and stuff. It's not for me, and I'm okay with that, and this was, and it was really, really, really great.
What ended up being the hardest out of the 75 care to do?
I love that you asked that, and this answer is actually really funny. It was the intentional phone call or FaceTime with a friend.
Ooh.
Because by the time that I could have a conversation, right? So I wasn't like distracted by my child or making dinner, doing bedtime, or trying to catch up on work. I was exhausted and couldn't think about holding a conversation with a person. And I also didn't really feel like I had anything interesting to say to people because I was so in my funk and I didn't want to just spread negativity. So that one was one that I had to really, really, really work on. And it's so funny to me because now we have a podcast where we weekly have conversations intentionally. It was like I have adult conversations, and I think that like, Biz, would you have pitched this podcast earlier? I probably would not have jumped on it like I did because I forced myself to understand you love your relationships, you love your friendships, and like, man, I'm gonna cry. So for the rest of my life, I will never ever forget Brandon Thompson calling me like at least once a month. And I was like so not okay. And I was trying so hard to be okay. And every single phone call, he didn't care if Connor was screaming, jumping on me, talking to him. There's Disney in the background. I'm stressed, whatever. He's like, "You're my friend. I love you. I just want to call and say hi and like be part of it. Like, I'm part of your life. I just want to be part of your life." And that just played on repeat so many times that I was like, I appreciate his friendship so much. And I need to be that for somebody, even when I can't figure out like how I can just call and say hi. And like he has given me so much grace and it's so cool. And he really helped me get over that curve. But yeah, that was the hardest one.
Brandon Thompson is a ray of sunshine to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
man.
love you, Brandon.
Yeah. We're just going to title this episode, "We Love You, Brandon."
No.
Self-care is calling Brandon Thompson.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, man. There's, Katie, you were that person for me too. You were that person for me, and I didn't realize that I was that person. I could be that person for someone else until you. And I'll never forget it. You complimented me. You told me that I was one of the people that you called when you needed encouragement, because I was always like, "Yeah, let's go, do it." And like that really meant a lot to me, because I didn't see myself that way until you complimented me that way. And so I'm really glad that we said that, and I really hope that he listens and hears all of these great things and how much we love him.
Oh, I'll make him listen. Don't you worry.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. So, okay. So self-care, a lot of friends. Ashleigh, you mentioned going to the gym. Do you consider your gym self-care? Or is that like, where does that fall on your list?
Yeah, it is. Mentality wise, I really love going to the gym early in the morning, not because I'm a morning person. And I think a lot of people assume that. They're like, well, if you get up at 4 a.m, like I can't do that because I'm not a morning person. I am not a morning person. I absolutely hate getting up that early. But when I get to the gym, it is relatively empty. It is relatively well-behaved people. I can get usually on any piece of equipment that I need. And no matter what else happens that day, I've gone to the gym and I've gotten like 5,000 steps in. I've gotten movement in. So it's just such a good box to have checked, to where those days where I am like, I just need to lay in bed for a while and cry, or like, I just can't motivate myself to get anything done. And you're like, at the end of the day, I got that done. And that helps so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. My thing too is like making time to be creative. And I straight up stole that from Brene Brown. But like, that's why when we were meeting with Diana, I was like, I need action items. Like, what do you actually do? Because everybody loves Brene Brown, but then my therapist was like, yeah, but what does she tell you to do? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
not a lot.
Yeah.
So being creative, she says, is really important. And that was where the stained glass hobby came from, is that I really want to I want to learn something new creative every year. And it doesn't need to be a whole new hobby, but like this year, I want to learn how to make Mardi Gras house float flowers, like the flowers that go on the Mardi Gras floats, because I want to decorate my house next year. So
fun.
like, right. And so that, I think, is a smaller goal for me to have to be able to do, but being creative is really important for me in my self-care and for that other half of your brain, right? Don't forget about the other half of your brain.
So, okay. So it's interesting that you bring that up, because, so like I am always trying to figure out things that I enjoy or whatever. And I read something a couple months ago that said that people who primarily have to use their brain or problem solve or are in leadership roles, things like that for work, enjoy more creative and things with their hands to relax. And people who primarily like are in action or use their hands or their body for work prefer mentally engaging things to relax. And so I loved that because I really, really love puzzles, like a lot. I don't do them very often because I have an almost 3-year-old, and where would I
Cool.
store it? You know, like I don't
Yeah.
know, he can
Oh,
escape
yeah.
every bit of childproofing we have. So like it just doesn't make a lot of sense to have like a puzzle around. And so, but then I read that and I was like, that's a lot of validation of like, okay, I did like that. I do love reading, and I should figure something else out that's like with my like something to do with my hands
Yeah.
at night. And so like that's like I was
That's where
sick
the
and
crochet came from?
yeah, like it provided the opportunity for me to try crocheting. And so I have been much better the past couple weeks about like we put Connor to sleep and eat, and then I take some time alone and like go crochet. And it's very fun and very relaxing, and it's very difficult right now. I did like an intro packet and it was great and awesome. And so, I thought that I was like the next crochet guru and decided that I was going to make Connor a dragon for his birthday. LOL, I have a head done. It's not great. And it's really, really fun to learn. But I always think about that, Biz, when you talk about stained glass, because your entire job is like mental stimulation and problem solving. And the stained glass is so creative and so hands-on and allows you to kind of be free with that, right? And Ashleigh, that also might be a part, like I know that there's a lot of health benefits for the gym, but that might be part of why you enjoy that, because it's physically stimulating and, it kind of gives your whole body engagement for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that that was like a
That is
really,
interesting.
it makes me more intentional about like how I spend my free time or my downtime, I guess, is like I've been finding myself purposely trying to do something that's a little bit more physically engaging.
I think that's a really great point. Yeah. Because how many people are like, you flip the TV on kind of out of habit to unwind at the end of the day. And I'm sure not the only person that I just can't. I cannot sit there and just watch TV. I can't do it.
No.
I'm the same way. I was gonna actually say that too. Like the stained glass, I used to cross stitch a lot. I know I had like many old lady habits in my 20s. But
I love old lady habits.
You do. But maybe that's why. No, but I used to cross stitch a lot, but I would do it in front of the TV. And it wasn't as like it doesn't hit the same way the stained glass does, where like, and right now it's downstairs in my other unit. And so like I literally go to a different space to do it.
Yeah.
And I can't, like, there's no point in having a TV around.
Yeah.
And self-care too, like, and talk about it though, like noise, it's important. Like I freaking love podcasts. Like I don't know if it's just like because we made one that now I'm seeing it all the time, but I feel like a lot of people have been asking for podcast recommendations recently, and I think I'm going to add that into my self-care regimen of like it, just listening in the background of stuff, because it's so important to not alienate. Like I work from home. I don't know.
Yeah. It's so easy to just not have like, I don't know, to like that feeling of being around people.
Yeah.
I love podcasts for that.
Yeah. Like that's like a good self-care thing for me too, is like to remember to listen to others. Because like I think a lot of times people just feel alone. But anyway, self-care. I also try to get outside. That's the other thing I'm really intentional about, is getting green space.
That's what's hard for me being in Colorado. I do not like cold. I don't like to be cold. And so when it's not sunny out and it's cold out, I just don't like, I run to my preheated car.
Yeah.
Sometimes I literally sit in my car for a little extra time because I've got the sunroof and the windshield. I'm like, sun, get through the windshield.
Yeah, I like that's one of the habits too that I'm very intentional with Liv, because we're in New Orleans and there's of course like massive oak trees that line the streets and they're beautiful. But you really do have to go to a park to get any type of grass or like real green space. And because the city is like from the 1800s, so there's every square inch is covered. And so we go to City Park a lot on Saturday mornings, and I just make her go with me and I make her sit
Everybody
And-
touch some grass.
Yeah, everybody touch some grass, everybody look at some water. There's an alligator. But I just think that it's so important to teach her those things. But my other favorite place to go is actually my grandparents' cemetery, which is kind of weird, but I take people there all the time when they come to visit. I'm like, let me show you my green spaces.
That is weird in New
cool.
Orleans.
Yeah, you're right. It's not weird
Not
in
at
New
all.
Orleans because it's a beautiful cemetery. There's a
They
tour
are
bus that goes to it. So, so I found that out the other day. I was like, wow, grandma, you a celebrity. But yeah, it was, but I love going out. I love going out to somewhere green. But I couldn't live anywhere cold like that. Actually, like I really don't think I could.
You know what I heard literally today is that listening to birds improves your mood for 8 hours.
Shut up.
Wow.
Seriously?
Isn't that cool?
Okay. So on Biz's 75 Care, the weather is nice enough now that I can go out on my balcony in the morning. And I did briefly today and I heard birds. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make myself go out on my balcony and
journal on the balcony or have tea or coffee on the balcony or your water.
You're right. Love that for me. Go Biz. I love that I get to do that.
Biz and the birds.
Biz and the birds. Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny because I mentioned having your hair done once in this whole episode. Neither of us or none of us have really said like, oh, my self-care is having my nails done, or like a lot of the traditional stuff that is told to women, like, oh, that's your self-care. I just think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I will say so. Like a couple months ago, I was talking about this and how like it's hard, right? I work full time. I have Connor. Like I don't get a lot of time. And then the times when Brett is like, hey, I'll take him. Like, why don't you take a day or take a half day or whatever? And I'm like, I don't even know what I want to do. And my instant reaction is like, I'll just do laundry or something. Or like take a shower. And I will say, like, the days that I get to take those showers where you like wash and deep condition your hair,
like put a mask on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
But I did legitimately make lists so that I could like just go to it's a Trello board. And there's one
surprise.
Yeah, there's one that's no prep, some prep, lots of prep or whatever. And so no prep is like reading, and it has like specific books in there, crocheting, things like I don't need any prep. I can just go grab my stuff and go do it. Little bit of prep is things like I really, really, really enjoy a massage. I always have my whole life. I enjoy it for different reasons because of the silence and because I'm a human jungle gym most of the time. What I'm saying is like I have that one on there. I don't consider getting my nails done as self-care. It's fun. I like it. I like the way that they look, but like my soul doesn't feel any better.
It's a great way to put it.
Self-care too, for me, like with that stuff is honestly my FabFitFun box. Like I have that annual membership, so I only think about it. And honestly, I forgot about it the past 2 years because I would have canceled it. And then I'm like, oh well, fuck it, I'm getting 4 more. Like, kind of thing. And it's truly like one of those years that it's like I wanted to cancel it. I was really upset with myself that I didn't cancel it. And it was so important for me to get those happies in the mail. That like so important to have that to like look forward to. That I think that's where my love of sending out snail mail comes from. Which I need to do more of, and that's what's cool. Like, me and Venn diagrams, you get to do something that's like fun and, gratitude, all these things. So yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the only like kind of traditional, like having my hair done doesn't really make me feel any better. It's more of like a task that I need to get done. I love my hair girl and we get to chat and that part's nice. But I hate getting my nails done. I just paint them at home because I cannot have my hands be somewhere else for like 2 hours. It's just too much. I can't do it. But self-tan at home, Biz, you have like beautiful olive skin. So I know you don't know the struggle, but for those of us who are pink in complexion in the winter.
Hello.
And I never ever did self-tan, like fake tan stuff, ever until maybe 3 years ago. And I was leaving for a vacation in the middle of winter, and this woman was like, "Hey, are you gonna go get a spray tan?" I was like, "I literally have never done it." She's like, "You should try it." So I just went out and tried it on a whim, and obsessed. I will feel like I just got back from vacation. It's great.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a cool hack too. Yeah, I need to get out more. Y'all are making me realize all these things. Like I gotta get out here more because I'm like, oh yeah, I get my stitch fixed too, and it's real fun. But because but getting out with the self tan, I did that once or twice back in the day. It's fun.
Yeah. I love a spray tan. I feel like when I get a spray tan, I am like, I think I've texted y'all before. I've got one. I'm like, I am a goddess. I am untouchable. Like nobody can tell me nothing. Like I
Seriously.
am bronzed. I am like bronzed to perfection. Excuse me. Who do you think you're speaking to? And then, it goes away in a couple days, but like
an Oscar.
Right. Yeah. Pretty great.
Yeah, and that's why I bought, like, I love a good spray tan. It's always done better by a professional, but I bought one of those little ones at home because I was like, if I put even just a light layer on my face and wash it off, it only like an hour or something, it gives that little tiny boost to where I don't feel like I even need makeup as much, and like I just get those couple days of just like mood boost.
Well, and I think that that's something too, like you're happier when you look in the mirror. Which like that's amazing, right? And I think that like Biz, you said something about doing affirmations and looking in the mirror.
And Superman pose.
Yeah. And I said some days I don't ever look in the mirror. And that actually stuck with me for a while because I think it's because like, and this was so little too, but like I was very overwhelmed and very stressed about things. And so like I didn't really get dressed in real clothes. My hair was usually like 2 weeks unwashed, whatever. Makeup just doesn't touch my face. And I was like, man, I think I'm not looking in the mirror because I know that I'll be disappointed. And so I made a point of like 2024. I was like, I'm going to wear real clothes every day.
Whoa!
Now, I was sick for like I had the plague, so I did not get fully dressed on those days, but other than that, I have put on like actual clothes every day of 2024.
That's amazing.
Done.
I haven't washed my hair all that much, but like baby steps.
It's hard especially when you're working from home or in a casual office. Like I am a sweatshirt person because I just find it so comfortable. But after a while, I'm like, okay, I gotta do something else.
I'm currently wearing my husband's sweater shrank in the dryer, and so now it's mine. And I was like, I didn't even have to go shopping. I got a new shirt.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's like why I love living in New Orleans though. It's like if I have clothes on, I can go out in public. Yeah, no, I should probably be a little bit more intentional with that too. I've been working from home for forever, right?
Yeah.
And Kelly at one point was like, you've been wearing that shirt for like 3 days. And it's not that I didn't shower. It's that I was trying to be mindful of my husband and the laundry that he handles in our house. And he was like complaining about laundry. And I was like, well, how much clothes do I actually need to wear every week? And I was kind of like, and then I like realized that. And then it was just the same shirt, but like she sees me from the top half, up, and I was like, "Wow, like this is terrible." You're right. Okay, I guess that's it. And this experiment's over.
But it's important that you tried stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. You just got to try stuff. Like I never had a self tan. I went and tried it. Turned out it works great for me.
Yeah,
I tried getting my nails done. Doesn't work for me.
I think there's also like self-care and then just like moments of happiness, right? Like you were talking about those little things, or like Biz, you talking about your boxes that you get, like, that that's not going to actually fix whatever's going on inside. And so to me, self-care is like things that might feel good in the moment, but they also put me back on the right path, which truly makes me feel better. Like, I love a good bath, like a good bubble bath or a good bath bomb, like unbeatable. So great. I don't know that
I wish Lush would sponsor us.
Same. Like, I don't know that I consider it self-care, because unless I go into that bath and like journal while I'm in there, yes, it's good for me. I'm taking a few minutes for myself. When I get back out of the bath, like, nothing's changed. I probably smell better, but like, to me, that's just it's like sanity moments, right? And so you have things like, you like to receive mail and it's going to make you happy. And so I think it's important to identify those things, because you have to sprinkle them in so that you're not constantly in this state of like distress all the time, right? Like, I think it's very valid to know those small things that make you happy, and like feed them. And like, we talk about it a lot, like jokingly, but like, we love little treats. I love to snack. Like, I love it. It makes me happy. I enjoy the act of eating. I enjoy the flavor. I love all of it. I love the colors. I love all of it. I love to snack. It's great. And like, I think that's fine, and it's never going to change. So sometimes I'm a little bit more aware of what I'm snacking on, right? Like, I'll switch it out for bell peppers or something. But like, before we got on to record, I excitedly held up that I had a little Gushers packet here, because I went to the grocery store yesterday and I got Gushers, and it made me happy. And I was having, I don't know what Valentine's Day does to kids, but like, I swear Connor did lines. And so I gave myself Gushers.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know that that's self-care, but it's enjoyable.
I love that you use that line, sanity care. Because like, and it's funny because you say like, okay, well, self-care is getting you on track. And some days I'm like, oh, I can't like get myself to stop scrolling on my phone and actually get myself ready and out the door. And I need to.
Yeah.
So then I use like, if you get this done quick enough, you can leave early and go get a coffee and like a pastry or something or whatever on the way. If you don't do this quick enough, then you're not going to have time. And so like, I sometimes use those sanity stops as ways to make myself get it back on track.
Yeah. And why not?
Treats are very important to me.
Yeah, they are.
Listen, treats have it. And like, even things like we talked about before, like, I have this cute cup, right? Like, Brett got me this cute. I love my coffee. This one makes coffee right into the cup, which is great. But like, I love my coffee and I love leopard print. So he got me a leopard print mug so that I smile when I look at it. Is it going to fix all the problems in the world? I mean, bitch, it might. But like, but it is going to make me smile.
Yeah. Right. You know what else? Like, something really simple that I call self-care, hugging my kid. Like a good hug. That's an important one for me. But like touching someone, like,
cuddling is actually shown to have so many tangible health benefits. It can regulate your heartbeat. It can lower anxiety. So I tell my husband all the time, he has to, like, I'm sorry, I have to cuddle you. I'm like, I like science. At least he gets very hot and he's the space heater of the relationship. I'm the cold one. And so I if he's hot, I have to at least just go put like a foot. My foot has to be.
It's science.
It is, but I can literally, like, if I'm tossing and turning and having a bad night of sleep, if I can just get a foot on him, all of a sudden, like, my body is warmer. I feel calmer. I will pass out.
Yeah.
Man, that's I can need to bottle that up in a pillow and
it drives me nuts because we cuddle right before we fall asleep. So I've got my head on his chest. I'm the perfect temperature. I'm completely comfortable. It's the place where like my face is the most relaxed and I am so sleepy. And then his back starts to hurt. So he has to nudge me off. And it's the worst part of my night. Every night I am like in this perfect little dream world. And I have really bad dreams. I don't know. I don't know if we've talked about this. Do you guys have nightmares?
Mm-hmm.
I don't dream. I haven't dreamed in a very long time. Like it's been
So
years.
fascinating.
It's I miss it, man. I used to have some wild dreams. I don't know what happened. It made me stressed.
That's
I don't know.
so fascinating. I love that conversation with people because there are people that are like, no, I just, I did and I don't anymore, or at least I don't
Wow.
remember them anymore. But Katie, you have bad dreams?
Yep. They'll wake me
It's-
up with like heart racing, the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, it's been, I mean, like I remember, gosh, I haven't talked about dreams in a long time, but yeah, no, I don't
We
dream
should do
anymore.
an episode on dreams.
Good. I find them fascinating. I don't often have good ones, which irritates me. So yeah, I'll wake up from a bad dream and I get really confused. I think that they're reality. And so
Yeah.
just very like worked up and like is hard to calm down. So yeah, having
That
somebody
sucks.
else to help regulate your heartbeat and kind of help ground you.
Yeah.
I will
But
say, so like Ashley, Brett is the same way. He's the space eater for sure. And like, which I'm jealous of because I'm always freezing. But I call it this cocoon now because my like I love my heating pad. And so I lay on my heating pad, but then he got me a heated blanket too. So I'm just like wrapped up in warmth. And he did it because he knew I would like it, but I think also probably so that I stopped trying to like touch him constantly and to be like, give me your warmth. Like I got so angry the other day. Not truly angry, although I did tell him I was going to start a fight. Because, it was like 10 degrees and he came inside and I sat next to him and I was like, why are you cold? Like, you're supposed to keep me warm.
Yeah. You're supposed to be warm.
It really does. It really does help me like go to sleep because I'm surrounded in this warmth. I have my little cocoon and it's like safe. And then my foot is on him.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's crazy. I know it has to do a lot with hormones and that like estrogen in the female body retains heat in the core. And so your extremities are almost always going to be cold no matter what. And I have Raynaud's, so it does not help at all. But it is just wild. When we were dating, one of the first times that I slept over, I remember rolling over in the middle of the night to cuddle him and thinking, oh my God, he has like 106-degree fever right now. I legit was like, I might need to wake him up because he's going to die in his sleep. And, but he's sleeping so peacefully. I was like, I'll leave it until the morning. And then he wakes up in the morning. I'm like, you have a fever. And he goes, no, I don't. Like, yes, you do. No, that he just literally radiates heat. And I don't understand. I cannot wrap my head around it.
Wow.
my kid loves my cold arms, like ever since she was a baby. And like, she's still to this day will like cling to the top of my arm. Top of my arm is always cold.
Where it's all
really
cold.
sweet. Yeah.
Aw.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. So for me, self-care is creativity, journaling. I'm going to birds. I'm going to work on, I'm going to listen back to Katie's 75 care list and make one for me. And
I'll just tag you in the post.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then I'm going to take my accountability buddy and my daughter along with me for that ride because that seems like a great thing to teach her too. So thanks for that, Katie.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. That's my self-care. What would your highlight self-care, Ashleigh? What are you taking from this?
I think the one thing I really do need to get better about is drinking my water. I'm that person that perpetually has a headache and is like, I don't get it. And then, when's the last time you drank water? No, not coffee, water. I think I need to make a bigger push on that. I think I would feel a lot better if I actually consumed real water and it would benefit me energy wise. So I'm not a 1 gallon person because I would never leave the bathroom if I drink that much water in a day. And I have things to do, so that won't happen. Like I have to time my drinks before if I have showings and I'm like, okay, how many houses do I have to go to? How long am I going to be gone? Like I'm gonna have to schedule time to go stop at Chick-fil-A. So that's what
Chick-fil-A is great too. Yeah, Katie, what are you taking from it? Anything that you can remember?
Well, lately I'll just stick with the same thing I've been focused on is going to bed a little bit earlier. I resist it because I so crave my downtime, and to me that was self-care. And I just need to be on, like, your body can't do what it needs to do if it doesn't get the rest that it needs. So working on both going to bed earlier and not just like watching TV before bed, but doing no screens so that I can sleep better.
Love that.
So
I definitely recommend anybody out there that is not, as much as you can, if you're not on a regular bedtime wake up time, highly recommend.
Yeah.
It does.
I used to be, I miss it.
It's hard, yeah, especially if you have kids and they're little, because that's just like really the only downtime you get.
Yeah. And it's easier, and this is interesting to me, that like I was staying up pretty late to enjoy that time, and we would mostly just watch TV or scroll our phones or whatever. But I just wanted the silence. And since I started doing like crochet and I got a coloring book and stuff like that, since I started doing those things, I've been falling asleep a lot faster and a lot earlier, because my whole body is like, okay, you've relaxed, you're satisfied, go to bed.
Love that. Biz, you know, the one thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to when you said you do cross stitch is that there's this bar near my house called Grandma's House. And so it's like all like, it feels like you're inside of a grandma's house, but you get beer and stuff. And they do on Thursdays foul-mouthed cross stitches.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's a stitching bitch. Is what we call it. What we used to call them was stitching bitches. Yeah, stitching bitch. Yeah,
it is so funny. Yeah, so everybody makes these little cross stitches that are like, you know, little funny sayings that are usually cursing or something, and it's freaking cool.
Oh my gosh,
I love it. Fun. I've done those. It's my favorite. I love that stuff. I gotta find a cool stained glass pattern like that. I love things. Thank you, Ashleigh. Yeah, let's go there. When I go up to Denver, like, we need to go there.
I love things. Yes, we do. And you know, it's funny you say I love things, because I am a Facebook Marketplace addict, and it is, I think, one of my forms of self-care is scrolling. And I constantly have to like show my husband something. I'm like, oh, look at how cool this is. And we have nowhere in the house for it. It's not practical and we don't need it. And I don't want to buy it. I just like the act of being like, this was cool. Like,
you just want to appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I love estate. That's me and my estate sales, right? Like, I love estate sailing.
It's just cool. I love seeing old stuff and cool stuff. And
estate sales are great. Like, I highly recommend it. Like, it scratches my curiosity itch, my house itch, my alone time itch, my need to spend money itch and get a good deal. It gets my creative itch, because I look at stuff and I'm like, ooh, this fork is going to make a cool dragonfly.
It's a dingle hopper.
It's a dingle hopper.
You know what? Yeah. Speaking of going to like an estate sale for alone time, I think I'm going to make more of a point to go places I would take my kids by myself. Like, I think I'm going to go to the zoo by myself one time.
Ooh, have you ever been
to the zoo by yourself?
By myself? Yeah. I don't think so. I think I've only ever taken the kids.
Oh my gosh. I went to the San Diego Zoo by myself several years ago, and I was there for 8.5 hours.
Oh,
it sounds amazing.
It was so much fun.
I want to go on a solo vacation. Have either of y'all ever done that? Like a solo trip?
Travel is the shit.
It's great.
Yeah. I'm going to put that on my list. It's not too late for me. Fuck it. I'm going to put it on my list now. I'm going to do it in 2024.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I did Puerto Rico solo.
Oh, fun.
And that was super fun. It's just something neat about like not having to even take anyone else's needs into consideration, especially as a mom and especially as a woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who has people-pleasing tendencies, there's nobody to people please.
Except yourself.
It's neat.
This is going to be hard for me to like find a spot to go to where I don't know anybody. And like, so I'm not going to be tempted to like, oh, let's get together and go do something and make it not about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a great excuse to go somewhere completely brand new.
Montana. Weren't you just talking about Montana?
That's honestly what I was just thinking. But then I'm going to end up wanting to move there. I real talk. Do you think I'm going to like, I've heard that area part of the country is gorgeous.
Yeah. The winter
I'm gonna go
sucks.
hiking. I gotta get outside. That's the one thing that I really do kind of miss in New Orleans is the lack of green space. So that's okay.
Yeah. A nice outdoor trip. I love this. Okay. Everybody's homework that's listening to the podcast is to go book a solo trip somewhere.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
tell us where you went and how great it was.
Bye next week.
Well, I love this conversation, and I think I've learned something for sure. I hope everybody else that listened to this took something away and understanding maybe themselves and their self-care a little bit more. And you're going to go try something new and amazing, and it's going to be great. So do not forget to rate the podcast, give us our 5 stars so other people can discover all the things that we're talking about and sharing. And please, please, please leave us a review. Share us with a friend. We appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Boop-a-doo-doo-doo-doo.